So if you're listening to this late at night, maybe in a dark room, this is exactly the kind of deep dive that's going to really get under your skin. Because when you shared the stack of sources with us, you posed like a really fascinating question.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a question that really anchors the whole text.
Right. You wanted us to figure out what drives a man who literally cannot die. Like, what happens when the very thing keeping you alive becomes, well, the single biggest obstacle to your own happiness?
Exactly. And it's a brutal premise to explore.
It really is. So for you listening, we are plunging headfirst into a truly wild, genre-bending universe today. We're looking at a text called Chasing Death, Episode 32, Goddess Baltis, and we're following this traveler named Zayn.
Yeah, a man who has somehow survived for 2 millennia.
2,000 years. Just navigating this incredibly treacherous, mythical landscape on his way to Yemen. And our mission today is to unpack the unique rules of his reality. We're going to explore how real, colossal historical figures end up colliding with ancient demons.
It's such a bizarre mix, right?
Mhm.
Because the intersection of those elements is really where this universe thrives. We're
Mhm.
looking at these deeply rooted mythological monsters, but they're operating in the margins of very real, historically significant geography.
Like the road to Sana.
Right, exactly. The road to Sana, the looming shadow of the Babylonian Empire.
Yeah.
It forces you to completely reevaluate how, like, myth and human history kind of bleed into one another.
Yeah, and I want to start by looking at how Zane's environment tests him right off the bat, because the setup of this journey is, I mean, it's intensely atmospheric.
Very much so.
Zayn is crossing this vast, sprawling desert toward Yemen. It's just this rugged expanse of jagged rocks, scorched hills that seem to, I don't know, they just huddle together under the weight of time. There are no trees, no shrubs, just the sound of his horse's hooves on sun-baked earth.
And the heat.
Oh, the heat is a literal physical weight pressing down on him.
And that harshness, it establishes a baseline of extreme vulnerability. The isolation of that journey strips away all societal protections, you know?
Yeah, he's totally on his own.
Exactly. Leaving him entirely exposed to whatever rules govern this specific wasteland.
Right. So then he rounds a bend and sees this incredibly bizarre mountain. It's this incredibly bizarre mountain. It's this deep, startling crimson, like a vivid, blood-red hue right in the middle of a brown desert.
Which is already a huge red flag.
Literally a red flag. And from the stones, he hears this weak, mournful voice. It's a frail old woman begging for help. She's claiming her son was bitten by a venomous serpent and is dying inside this nearby cave.
And this is where the trap is set.
Right, because to me, this screams of the classic, damsel in distress trope. I feel like anyone else would just keep writing, like, nope, not getting involved.
No, 100%.
But Zayn has medicine, he has a conscience, and so he goes in.
Well, you have to consider who he is. I mean, Zayn has been alive for 2,000 years. He has seen empires rise, burn, turn to dust, yet his defining human trait remains his compassion.
Which is pretty incredible when you think about it.
It really is. The environment itself is essentially acting as an apex predator here, and it knows that human empathy is the most effective bait.
Right.
This trap isn't designed for some careless, selfish traveler. It is explicitly designed to exploit the conscience of a good man.
Man, that is dark. So he leaves his horse, steps into this tunnel-like cave, and the physical shift is just visceral. The vaulted ceiling actually weeps, dropping cold water onto the damp floor.
It builds that creepy atmosphere.
Totally. And he hears the agonized moans of a man. But the second, and I mean the exact second he steps into the inner chamber to help, a massive boulder drops from the ceiling.
Game over.
Yeah. A rock so immense that a lifetime of labor wouldn't move it an inch. He is sealed in, the weeping stops, and there is just this eerie, suffocating silence.
Look at Zayn's immediate internal reaction to being trapped.
Yeah.
Like, this is fascinating.
Oh, yeah, the paranoia.
Right. He's standing there in pitch blackness, literally entombed in a mountain, and he genuinely wonders if this is a political conspiracy.
That part was so jarring to me.
He asks himself, who in this wilderness could possibly count him as an enemy?
Right, like he doesn't think about ghosts or mountain monsters or anything supernatural.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And it reveals this deep geopolitical paranoia that you would naturally develop, right? After surviving for 2 millennia.
Wow, yeah.
His mind defaults to political assassination. It grounds his character in a really gritty, realistic mindset. He has survived human history by treating every threat as a calculated human maneuver.
But of course, the reality here is so much worse than a human assassin.
Oh, definitely.
Because then the environment shifts again. That cold, damp chill vanishes, and it's replaced by this rising, sweltering heat. He follows a sliver of red light and finds himself looking at a vertical shaft of churning, bubbling lava.
Inside a cold mountain.
Yes, a literal furnace hidden inside a stone mountain. And then the cavern erupts with this hideous booming laughter from a giant. So the old woman, the crying son,
Right.
they are completely fabricated illusions.
Because he has walked right into the lair of a jinn.
Right.
And in this lore, these are ancient, fireborn creatures of pure malice. They existed long before humans even had names for their fears.
That's terrifying.
They predate our very understanding of danger, and the jinn gleefully announces it lured him there simply to feast on him.
But here is where the confrontation completely flips my expectations, like entirely. Zayn is trapped by a gargantuan demon, but he doesn't panic. He just looks up at this towering monster and tells it with this chilling calm. He says, "You have made the greatest mistake of your existence."
I love that line. The jinn's absolute arrogance clashes violently with Zayn's cosmic certainty.
Yeah, and the ceiling splits open, revealing the true terror of this creature. It's this massive black demon, long curved horns, teeth like jagged tusks protruding past its chin, volcanic red eyes,
Covered in thick black fur like a bear.
and wielding these long, wicked talons. But I have to admit, I was completely lost during the actual mechanics of this fight.
How so?
Well, the djinn reaches down with this massive clawed hand, snatches Zayn up like a kitten, and squeezes, but Zayn doesn't get crushed.
No, he doesn't.
Instead, the djinn shrieks in agony. It drops Zayn, jerking its hand back as if it just grabbed a red-hot ember. Zayn hits the stone floor completely unharmed.
Right.
And Zayn isn't wearing magical armor. He doesn't cast a protection spell. So, how exactly do the mechanics of his invulnerability work here?
Okay, so it comes down to a philosophical concept we can call destiny administration.
Destiny administration,
Yeah.
okay.
Zayn explicitly states that death is not written in his destiny. So his survival is not some localized magic trick. It's a cosmic, fate-based loophole.
Wait, really? So it's just the rules of the universe?
Exactly. The universe simply will not allow an unauthorized death to occur. Reality itself actually bends to enforce that decree. So when the jinn tries to crush him, it isn't just squeezing a physical man, it is attempting to overwrite the fundamental laws of destiny.
Oh, wow.
And that violent burning the jinn experiences, that's the universe snapping back, violently rejecting the violation of fate.
That makes so much sense. I kept thinking of it like a video game.
Yeah.
Like, Zayn doesn't just have an invincibility mode turned on where attacks do 0 damage. He has, a passive reflection buff.
A passive reflection buff, yes,
Yeah.
that's a perfect way to put it.
Anyone who tries to enact physical violence against him is literally burned by the very act of attacking. The universe weaponizes their own aggression against them.
And the jinn goes completely mad with fury trying to comprehend this. It tries to crush Zayn under its massive foot, and the foot burns.
Yeah.
Then it picks up a boulder the size of a small house, like a rock that would reduce a modern building to rubble, and heaves it at Zayn.
And the boulder just bounces off his shoulder like a harmless bale of cotton. It is such a wildly surreal visual.
But notice how methodical Zayn is in dismantling the creature.
He's so calm.
He doesn't flail or panic at all. He draws his sword, strikes the demon's leg, and severs the jinn's foot cleanly off.
Mhm.
The scream is so violent it shakes the entire cave system like an earthquake. Then he brings the giant to its knees, blinds it by driving his blade into its volcanic eyes, and with one swing, decapitates the beast.
And the second the djinn dies, the entire trap just shatters. The massive boulder blocking the exit rolls away. The bubbling lava pit vanishes into thin air. Zayn just walks out, and his horse is standing right there, grazing peacefully on a patch of dry grass.
The contrast between the inside and the outside there is so striking. It really highlights the illusory nature of the jinn's power versus the absolute grounded reality of Zayn's fate.
Right, because the djinn's world is just a theater of smoke and mirrors designed to terrorize.
Exactly. While Zayn's existence is an immovable cosmic fact, the illusion shatters the moment it collides with true destiny.
So Zayn surviving the djinn proves his environment cannot kill him. But his journey immediately shifts to test something much more dangerous, I think, his own desires.
Oh, absolutely.
He pushes on through the night, traveling under the stars in this profound silence. And then suddenly a lion roars, the horse panics. Zayn ties it up, draws his sword, and waits behind a rock.
And the narrative purpose of this second encounter is entirely different.
Yeah, it feels different.
The jinn tested his physical limits, but this ambush exposes his deep past and the psychological reality of, living forever.
So the lion lunges at him, just this golden blur in the dark. Zayn dodges, his sword bites into the sand, but he actually trips on a jagged stone and loses his weapon.
A rare mistake.
Yeah, and the lion leaps onto his chest and strikes him with a paw blow powerful enough to shatter an elephant's skull. But again, Zayn feels nothing. The lion's claws are literally injured against his skin. Then we get one of the most striking visuals in the entire universe.
A moment of pure, horrifying surrender.
Yes. The lion opens its massive jaws and takes Zayn's entire head into its mouth, and Zayn just closes his eyes and waits.
He doesn't even struggle.
No. The lion bites down with all its might, and its teeth shatter against his neck like fragile glass. The lion howls, recoils, and instantly vanishes. And standing in its place is a breathtakingly beautiful woman with the faint marks of claws on her neck.
Which brings us to goddess Baltis. And she assumes, naturally, that Zayn must be a celestial deity. I mean, no ordinary human could shatter a lion's teeth with her bare neck.
Obviously not.
But Zayn corrects her. He says he is just a simple man. The only difference is that death is not written in his destiny. And he confesses he's been alive for 2,000 years.
And that revelation completely changes her demeanor. Baltis reveals she was once a high-ranking member of the court of Marduk.
And for context here, Marduk isn't just some minor mythological figure. In ancient Babylonian lore, Marduk is the chief deity.
Like the king of the gods.
Yes, the supreme god who created the cosmos and conquered the forces of chaos. So to be a high-ranking member of his court means Baltis operated at the absolute pinnacle of divine power and civilization.
Which makes her current state so deeply tragic.
Very.
She committed some unnamed sin and was cursed by Marduk to live out her days in the wilderness as a hunting lioness. I mean, to fall from the supreme divine court down to a feral beast in the desert is a staggering drop.
It really is.
So, when she finds out Zayn is immortal too, she immediately proposes to him. She says, "It is written in my destiny that I too shall live forever. Let us marry and spend eternity together in the lush valley I call home."
It seems like a perfectly natural solution for two outcasts of time, adrift in the wilderness.
See, I actually want to push back on Zayn's reaction here, because he rejects her.
He does.
He says he left his home for a secret purpose, and until that purpose is fulfilled, he can find no rest. And I honestly struggle to understand why he would reject an immortal companion.
You think he should have accepted?
I mean, isn't eternity incredibly lonely? You can't have a partner while you pursue this mysterious purpose. It really makes you wonder if his secret purpose is less of a mission and more of a psychological prison.
That's a great point. It really raises a fundamental question about the nature of immortality itself. The two immortals here hold opposing philosophies on eternity.
Yeah.
Because Baltis was cursed, she views eternity as an agonizing expanse of time to be endured. She wants to settle in a lush valley and hide from the harshness of her reality. For her, eternity is a hiding place.
But for Zayn.
For Zayn, eternity is a ticking clock. It is not a gift of infinite time. It is a relentless delay of his final rest. He cannot stop, he cannot settle, and he cannot form attachments because his purpose constantly drives him forward.
Wow.
Immortality is heavily portrayed as a crushing burden for him. His invulnerability keeps his body alive, sure, but his obsessive purpose keeps his soul entirely isolated.
That is just a brutal, tragic way to look at it. But Baltis accepts his rejection gracefully. And before she vanishes into the night air, she gives him a ring. She tells him about her younger sister, Salika, who dwells in a ruined temple on the outskirts of Sana'a. She instructs Zayn that if he ever needs aid, he just needs to go there, call Salika's name 3 times, and show the ring.
So he survives the night, gaining a new artifact, a potential divine ally, and a really clear path for the final stretch of his journey.
Right. But Zayn's journey through the desert proves that surviving demons and rejecting goddesses is really only half the battle. Because what happens when an unkillable man walks out of the mythic wilderness and straight into the gears of human history?
That's where things get really interesting.
Yeah, the sun comes up and Zayn finally arrives at the gates of Sana'a, the capital of Yemen. And the massive genre shift executed here is brilliant. We go from fighting ancient fire magic to navigating a clash of famous mortal titans.
The world building just seamlessly fuses that mythic supernaturalism with grounded historical tension.
Exactly. So Sana'a is presented as being in a golden age under the reign of King Hammurabi. It is a jewel of the south. Prosperous, clean streets, bustling markets overflowing with silk, spices, olive oil. Hammurabi has established a firm, just moral order, and the people are living in absolute peace.
But that peace has structurally compromised their safety
Right.
because a massive geopolitical storm is brewing in the form of King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar has long cast a covetous eye toward the wealth of Yemen.
See, I am struggling with the politics here. If Hammurabi is this legendary leader ruling over a massively wealthy, successful city, why is his army so unprepared? Shouldn't a prosperous city be heavily defended?
That is the tragic paradox of Hammurabi's governance.
Mm.
He focused entirely on internal welfare, codifying laws, advancing agriculture, establishing civil justice.
The Code of Hammurabi.
Exactly. He built a society profoundly worth defending, but he neglected to forge the sword required to defend it.
Oh, I see.
In contrast, Nebuchadnezzar's Babylonian Empire is a systematized war machine built entirely on conquest, siege tactics, aggressive expansion. Moral order is fundamentally helpless against raw, mechanized military power.
Yeah.
Hammurabi's dedication to peace inadvertently created the weakness that invites his own destruction.
Wow, it is the ultimate historical tension. The enlightened, prosperous city about to be tested by a ruthless, expanding empire. Hammurabi is desperately trying to avoid conflict, but it's forced to prepare his outmatched forces for a brutal invasion. And right in the middle of this massive geopolitical powder keg who walks quietly through the city gates, Zayn.
A 2,000-year-old wild card stepping directly onto the chessboard.
Exactly.
The mortal kings, Hammurabi and Nebuchadnezzar, are mobilizing their vast armies, fighting over territory and resources, completely unaware that a man who shatters giant boulders and defeats divine beasts has just arrived in the city.
It completely reframes how we view historical events in this universe. I mean, how many massive shifts in human history were secretly manipulated or influenced by someone like Zayn, acting on a deeply hidden, centuries-old mission?
It changes the stakes entirely. The impending war is terrifying for the citizens of Senum, but Zayn operates on a cosmic timeline.
Right.
His arrival in a city bracing for the storm of history isn't a coincidence.
Right.
It is a violent convergence of destiny and mortal politics.
So when you handed us this stack of sources to analyze for you all listening today, we found a world where the rules of survival are totally inverted.
Yeah.
We explored how your own deep empathy can be weaponized against you by monsters hiding in the dark. We decoded how immortality isn't a magical shield, but a rigid cosmic destiny that actively burns anyone trying to alter it.
Absolutely.
And we saw mythological gods looking for a quiet valley to hide from their ancient curses, while mortal empires prepare to burn the world down around them.
And through Zayn, we see how having a profound overriding purpose can really drive us through our own personal deserts. It provides the supernatural resilience to survive even when our environment feels like an inescapable trap.
Yeah.
Yet it also forces us to ask what we are willing to sacrifice along the way, as Zayn sacrifices companionship and peace just to keep moving forward.
Exactly. His absolute invulnerability is derived from one simple fact. His destiny is not yet fulfilled. His secret 2,000-year-old mission is the very engine keeping his heart beating.
Which is a heavy burden.
It is, and I want to leave you with a lingering question to chew on. If his unfulfilled purpose is the absolute source of his immortality, what happens to him the second he actually completes it? Does achieving your ultimate destiny mean the universe finally stops protecting you? Like, does fulfilling your purpose mean you finally lose your immortality? Something to think about as you navigate your own purposes today.